Hello, welcome back. This is part two of my study of the Revelation 12 sign. And before we get started, I want to thank some people and name my sources, get that out of the way. The sources I used for this video was Planet 7X, which is a YouTube channel, Planet X, God's Endgame by David Mead, which is a book, Planet X in the Bible by Pastor F.M. Riley, which is a article. You can Google that and get information from it. And Planet X and the Colburn Bible Connection by Greg Jenner, which is also a book. And I also use some of the eschatology charts from Lou Vega, which I have permission to use. So this is a Revelation 12, verse 3-4 sign, seed of the woman, 23 September 2017. And it happens to happen on Rosh Hashanah, which is the Feast of Trumpets. And if you have not watched part one, I suggest you stop this and watch part one first. You'd be kind of lost. It goes into the actual birth date of Christ. And another video I want to give credit to is a Star of Bethlehem, I think is what it's called. Very good study of the actual star that brought Jesus Christ into the world, which I believe was part of this sign as well, but it did some other miraculous things. Anyway, so what we have is we have a sign. The verse is Revelation 12, 1-4, and it says, "And there appeared a great sign in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head was 12 stars, a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered," which we have. We have the constellation Virgo. The moon is at her feet. She is clothed with the sun, and she is giving birth to the king planet Jupiter here in her womb. And as stated before, not this artwork over here, but the actual constellation star connection artwork. With the constellation Leo of 9 stars, we have 3 additional planet or stars that have moved in, and to give a crown of 12 stars. Now, what I'm going to focus on in this video is the next part to this verse, which I think has eluded some people, but some people that are putting some stuff on YouTube, we all have different opinions. You be the judge, look at the evidence, watch the videos, hear their argument, hear their reports, whatever, and make the call, and pray about it when you make that call. So the second part of the verse reads, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great dragon having 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And a tail drew a third of the part of the stars in heaven, and did cast them down to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born." Now, I want you to pay attention. The Bible is very accurate in its wording. When you read that verse, and that's a King James rendition of the Bible there, it says, "There appeared a great sign in heaven." Sign. A woman clothed with the sun, with the moon at her feet. Okay? Then the next part of the verse about the dragon states, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven," not sign. 2 different words. So I take that to heart. I'm not looking for a constellation. I'm looking for something different, and we'll just leave it at that. We do have Hydra over here, as you can see, and I truthfully, I didn't even take a look at them. I did a little bit, but nothing stands out to me as how this is eating a child, the planet Jupiter, which is down here. It's clear over here. Does not fit the description whatsoever. Okay. You have serpents, which is down here, and I'm not seeing it. You can look at man's artwork, which is the snake, which goes around and around and around. All right, and you look at the actual constellation, and I mean, neither part of that has anything to do with Virgo. Um, like I said, my opinion, form your own. Here's serpent's clear down here. And, its head is actually right here. If we turn the constellations and dim them for a second, um, we'll see how everything lines up a little easier. And, I mean, serpent's actual constellation is down here, and we have Hydra up here. There's no crown. Or, I'm sorry, there's no, I, I'm not seeing any evidence of how these affect um, this lineup right here. There's no horns, there's no crowns, there's no um, additional stars. So, bottom line, I'm not going to waste a lot of time disproving it because I really think there's something different. Okay, and that's what I'm going to prove to you. Okay, so just a quick review. Um, we know that Virgo and Leo, Virgo being the first constellation in the zodiac, and Leo being the last. And we know Jesus declared that he is the first and the last. Revelation 1:8. Virgo is also the seed of the woman, holding both the branch and the seed. Genesis 3:15. Jesus is the seed of the woman and the branch for nations. And there's the scripture for it. Rosh Hashanah is the Feast of Trumpets, which is a Jewish holiday based on the lunar cycle, supporting documented evidence from historians. Lunar eclipses, star patterns, and witnesses deduce that Jesus Christ was born on September 11th, 3 BC, not the 25th of December. If this is correct, then do these things here become more believable? If you are Satan and you hate God and your demons hate God, and what a way to defy him if on his birthday, if that's the actual birthday, it's September 11th. Like I said, draw your own conclusions. I'm just going to put the stuff out there. Could something like this be actually possible? Is there a spirit realm? I believe there is, and I believe September 11th has more meaning than we will ever know. Here it is on the news, actual screenshots. It's in our money. Pentagon, Oklahoma City. And what's up with the Hoover Dam? Draw your own conclusions, but it's there. This is a monument at the Hoover Dam. Can anyone tell me what angels would have to do with the Hoover Dam? Um, why that would be something that would be at a dam? Um, I don't know. Fallen angels, rebirth, just doesn't seem to add up. You have to realize that there are spiritual forces in this world, both good and evil, and they are in a battle, and this stuff is for real. So think about it, pray about it, take this stuff in. Okay. In 1981, Planet X, aka Nibiru Destroyer Dragon, among other names, was discovered and photographed by JPL's, which is Jet Propulsion Laboratory, Deep Infrared Telescope. What they soon learned must have scared them half to death. They learned that the ancient writings of the Sumerians, which we'll discuss later, were really true. Up to this time in history, the writings were regarded as fiction, exaggerations, or myths, and what they discovered is an additional planet 5 to 6 times larger than Earth on an elliptical orbit like that of a comet. Then a planet, its orbit is so elongated it spends most of its time in darkness of deep space, but comes back to our inner solar system every 3,630 years. Because it is so large, planet X also has an electromagnetic field that is second only to the Sun. In other words, it acts as a powerful magnet in space, pushing and pulling all kinds of debris through space as it advances, thus leaving a huge tail of collected debris behind it. What scientists and astronomers have found was this binary star system is inbound to our solar system, and at the time calculated 20 to 30 years before its arrival. In view of this, its powerful magnetic field, the scientists knew that when this planet comes flying into our solar system, the utter havoc and destruction from both the tail of debris and the ultra-powerful magnetic field would be overwhelming to our planet, causing volcanoes, earthquakes, unspeakable geological changes. This is what exactly the Sumatrans recorded 3,600 years ago. News articles span from 1981 to current articles speckled throughout the media. Just a couple months ago, these articles have gained some steam, but not, in my opinion, not enough. On June 22nd of this year, Helio Viewer on June 17th and 18th detected an object which is clearly spherical and looked like the size of Jupiter. If you Google dark object next to the sun um, around this date time, you will get a lot of hits around it. I feel the sightings will probably drastically increase from here on out. Uh, we'll see. I'm just presenting the stuff that I find. I don't know what its location is or anything like that. So just continue to look and investigate on your own. These are here. Some are hard to read because they are old and they were um, in a JPEG format. Here's a recent one, 22 June 2013, by James Turnage. Louisiana. This is where these guys were accredited to finding it as well. Go back to that one there. Okay, there's going to be a lot of scripture in the Bible that discusses the wrath of God. It's in several different chapters in several different books of the Bible. You'll find everything from mountains moving to seas roaring, fire falling, falling stars, blood falling from the sky, earthquakes, a lot of others. Um, my first thought when I started studying this subject was, okay, but why does he need a binary star system to come in to do this wrath of an all-powerful God who can do whatever he wants? Um, my question was answered, and it is for our benefit. This is a warning system that's in place to let us know that this thing is coming. We need to read the scripture. We need to pay attention to the ancient writings as well, and be able to put these things together and study these things. Instead, you have people watching Honey Boo Boo on TV and not putting any thought or any type of interest in the Bible whatsoever. And all this stuff stands out once you start to read it and actually research it and dig for it. Is it hard to find? Yeah, it's a little hard to find, but if you put the effort to it, it's not hard at all. It comes right out. The star system isn't just recorded in the Bible. It's also recorded in the Colburn text It's in hieroglyphics, it's in ancient paintings, it's in star charts, it's recorded everywhere. In fact, it was hard for me to streamline this video because of so much stuff I found on it. Um, so we had to use the star system before, and we're supposed to learn, we're supposed to pay attention and repent before it even comes to this. But now that it's come to this, or it is coming to this, then people are going to be scrambling and time's going to be running short. But that's the reason for the video, to give you guys a heads up and get you ahead. Okay, so just to highlight some stuff. Isaiah 24:3-6. The earth shall utterly be empty and utterly plundered, for the Lord has spoken this word. The earth mourns and withers, the world languishes and withers, the highest people of the earth languish. The earth lies defiled under its inhabitants, for they have transgressed the laws, violated the statutes, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore a curse devours the earth, and its inhabitants suffer their guilt. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are scorched, and few men are left. Isaiah 40, 4-5. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill shall be made low. The uneven ground shall be made level, and the rough places as a plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. One thing that catches my eye on that, it says, and all flesh shall see it together. You know, like I said, the Bible is very accurate on what it states. And in flesh, we are the flesh. People, human beings are the flesh. And it states, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. And with that, all flesh shall see it together. We're seeing the effects of it now, although it's, I'm sure, not even in view of amateur type equipment. We're seeing the earth go through a lot of changes, and let me tell you, it's not global warming. I mean, we have sinkholes opening up, we have mass animal deaths that aren't even being reported, which I will talk about later. Just several different things that are going through the earth, and it's changing at this point, and it's not going to get any better. It's going to continue to get worse as this thing moves. I like that verse up there, Isaiah 24:20 says, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. All right, let's go to the next slide. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against authorities, against the cosmic powers. This present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly places. Heavenly places, not on earth. Alright. The wicked man writhes in pain all his days, through all his years, all laid up for ruthlessness. Dreadful sounds are in his ears, and prosperity. The destroyer will come upon them. He does not believe that he will return out of darkness, and he is marked for the sword. He wanders abroad for bread, saying, where is it? He knows that day of darkness is already at hand. Distress and anguish terrify him. They prevail against him like a king for battle, because he has outstretched his hand against God. Jeremiah 4:7, very interesting verse. We'll talk about these here in a minute. A lion has come up from its thicket, a destroyer of nations. He has gone out of his place to make your land a waste. Your cities will be in ruins without an inhabitant. 48:8, the destroyer shall come upon every city, and no city shall escape. The valley shall perish, and the plain shall be destroyed, and the Lord has spoken. Jeremiah 6:26, I have made their widows more in number than the sands of the sea. I have brought against their mothers of young men a destroyer at noonday. I have made anguish and terror fall upon them suddenly. She who bore 7 has gone feeble. She has fainted away. Her sun went down while while it is yet day, and she has been ashamed and disgraced. And the rest of them, I will give the sword before their enemies, declares the Lord. A warning against idolatry was we must not put Christ to the test, as some did and were destroyed by serpent, Satan's seed. nor grumble as some of them did and were destroyed by the destroyer. Okay, so the destroyer is what we're talking about. Um, the destroyer is the dragon in Revelation 12. It is the vehicle the Lord uses to conduct his judgment on earth. What can we deduce from Scripture about the destroyer? It's brought out by turning against God and his statutes and covenant. It produces dreadful sounds, and seeing it is terrifying. It's going to be a total surprise. Food will be scarce in the war, and war will also be abundant. All right, let's go back and look at some of this. Because he has outstretched his hand against God, the destroyer will come upon them. It can destroy nations, cities, valleys, and plains. The earth will grow feeble, and the earth will turn as the sun will be off course. That's found in right here in Jeremiah 6:26. I have made widows more in number than the sands of the sea. I have brought against the mothers of the young men a destroyer at noonday. I have made anguish and terror fall upon them suddenly. She who bore 7 has gone feeble. She has fainted away. Her sun went down while it was still yet day, and she has been ashamed and disgraced. It's talking about earth. Um, she who bore 7 days. All right, 7 days. Her sun went down while it was still yet daytime, and she has been ashamed and disgraced. And the rest of them I will give to the sword. All right, so there's going to be war, which is the sword, and there's going to be um, this destroyer there, which is dishing out the judgments um, before their enemies, declares the Lord. All right, so um, this is talking about the earth right here. She who bore 7 has gone feeble, 7 days. She has fainted away. Her sun went down while it was yet day. She has been ashamed and disgraced. And the rest of them I will give to the sword. All right, so right there, it's going to be war, and it's going to be this destroyer right there. The two things that are coming. No city shall escape. The valley shall, and the plain, both shall perish. Um, I like this verse right here. All right, this destroyer comes out of deep space. Okay, we're not going to see it coming, and I'll get to the reasons why here in a minute. First off, it's only visible through the infrared telescope, which is a different spectrum than what we're used to. A lion has come up from its thicket, a destroyer of nations. He has gone out of his place to make your land a waste. Your cities will be ruins without an inhabitant. All right, comes out of its thicket. Um, and of course, there's other verses down here that are also talking about the destroyer as well. Up here in Job, he talks about it coming in prosperity. I think it was Job. Yeah, right here. Dreadful sounds are in the ears. I imagine this thing's going to have a dreadful noise when it moves into position. And prosperity. The destroyer will come upon him. It does not believe it will return out of darkness. So it comes and goes. Does not believe it will return. And he is marked for the sword. Two things right there. Sword and destroyer. Same thing said down here in Jeremiah. Okay, so these are the Lord's judgments that are found in the book of Revelation. You have the seals, the trumpets, and the bowls. Okay, what I want to talk about here is first off time. Now we do not know the time between judgments, but we are told that the tribulation is 7 years. Daniel 9:24. The onset of the tribulation is the peace covenant with Israel. Daniel 9:25. For there to be peace, there has to be war, and I feel that it will be Psalms 83 or Isaiah 17 that starts the World War III. With the nations of the world. We also know the Antichrist will break this covenant at a midpoint, 3.5 years, and proclaim himself God and demand worship. That's all found in Daniel 9:27. what we want to talk about is the first six seals. Notice how the first six seals are not really Destroyer or Nibiru or whatever you want to call it, Planet X related judgments. We have, the horsemen and the fifth seal, the rapture of the martyrs in heaven. And we have somewhat of a judgment here with the sixth seal. And it's not quite Nibiru stuff. There's not a lot of stuff going on there. But I feel also that the first four seals here are opened the same day and in the same hour, which would be the day of the Lord. And that's Jeremiah 50:51, in my opinion. But I feel that these four are opened right at that time. Now, when we get to the sixth seal, there is a great earthquake, and the sun became black, and the moon became as blood. And it's just abbreviated here, sun, moon, stars. Um, and it says that the stars fell out of heaven to earth as a fig tree. What I see here is just what it says: an earthquake and also an eclipse, a solar and a lunar eclipse. I do feel that the earthquake, of course, is probably the system moving in, but it's not as extreme as later judgments, which we will see here. The trumpet judgments get more severe, possibly a solar flare, strong magnetic pull. We see evidence of falling asteroids, poisoning the water, the killing of the life in the sea. But you get over here to the seven bowls, the judgments are extremely severe and show very, very strong possibilities of a binary star involvement. A great earthquake that not only splits cities but also nations. Islands and mountains cannot even be found. So you can see something as these judgments move forward. They get a lot more severe. That's just the big point I wanted to make um, for the actual judgments listed in the Bible. Now this is just a little bit more of a breakdown of it. Seal 6, meteor shower, earthquake. Um, so, probably a very large earthquake. I feel it's going to um, be very, very, very significant. But like we said before, as they go forward, they get much worse. Trumpet 1 is a solar flare. I mean, you're talking about a third of the earth is burned up, and the trees are burned up. So it's getting a lot worse. Two trumpets here, 2 and 3. Huge mountain, all ablaze, thrown into the sea. A third of it turned to blood. A third of it, living creatures died. Ships destroyed. So, and then, you know, down here, the Earth pole shift in Vial 7. The verbiage is a tremendous quake. Cities splitting in 3 parts. Cities of nations collapsed. So, um, definitely a lot worse as it moves forward. Okay, the Colburn. Let's talk a little bit about going outside the Bible. First off, um, there are extra biblical texts. This is not one of them. All right, this is an ancient manuscript. But if it does not take away from the Bible, then if I read it and the information, it does not contradict the Bible, then to me it's nice to know information. Nice to know. Is it something I'm going to base my whole theory on or my whole thought process on? No. The first thing you go to is the Bible to get the best information you can get. And then if there's other text or other writings or other um, sources, then fine. Um, but this is an ancient manuscript salvaged from the Glastonbury Abbey arson in 1184. It does have a lot of the mention of the Father and Jesus in it. So, take it for what it's worth. It's nice to know information as long as it doesn't take away. Just a couple highlights. Men forget the days of the destroyer. And what's interesting is this book, the Colburn text, also calls it the destroyer as well. So, you know, they don't contradict each other at all, even in what they call it. So, pretty interesting. Um, then, because of the heavily rebellion and turmoil and terror overwhelming the hearts of men, the Great One hardened the face of the land, which became unstable, and the beasts were changed to stone. This was before the times when the destroyer was still slumbered in the upper vaults of heaven. Um, heaven. Real quick, look at this word. There's three heavens. There's the heaven where the Father and the Son live, which is the third heaven. The second heaven is our space system, outer space. And the first heaven is where man has dominion, and that's our atmosphere. That's where God gave Adam, the right to name all the animals of the air, the birds, etc. God named the stars, so he has the second heaven, and of course his throne is in the third heaven. So just so that's clear. Men forget the days of the destroyer, only the wise men know where it went, and that it will return at its appointed hour. So here's some more. There's a bunch, so I'll leave this up here, and I'm just going to read a couple of them, and then you can freeze frame it and read the rest of them. Um, God caused a dragon from out of heaven to come and encompass her about. The seas were loosened from their cradles and rose up pouring across the land. Men stricken with terror went mad at the awful sight in the heavens. The breath was sucked from their bodies, and they were burnt in a strange ash. God caused the dragon from out of heaven to come and encompass her about. The seas were loosened from their cradles and rose up, pouring out across the land. Men forget the days of the destroyer. Only the wise know where it went, and that it will return at its appointed hour. So there's quite a few of these here, and it's nothing nice at all. All right, blood drops out of the earth. I believe this is like possibly some sort of lava or hot liquid metal that will come out of it. Um, yeah, there's just a bunch of nastiness. Here's some more here on this one. It twisted itself like a coil. It was not great. It was not a great comet or a loosened star, being more like a fiery body of flame. The doom shape is like a circling ball of flame which scatters small fiery offspring in its train. It covers about a fifth part of the sky and sends withering snake-like fingers down to earth. So I'll leave that up there for a minute. Um, 4 times the stars have moved to new positions, and twice the sun has changed the direction of its journey. Twice the destroyer has struck the earth. I'm going to get into some pictures and from different sources and see what you think here. They say it's winged. It's got these wings that come out as it moves. All this debris just follows it, and it's like a slipstream almost of an aircraft. So just I took a couple of these, and you can see the wing theory here. The wing thing here is present. I like this one because it shows what's obviously the sun, and it also shows the planet X over here in the Egyptian hieroglyphics. There's some more. This one actually shows moons around it, some sort of field around it. Several people with it above their head. Here's some artwork that's in it. That's in even ancient and modern artwork. Here it shows its tail, grabbing the stars like it talks about in Revelation 12, coming down. Kind of a weird looking creature. This is a Denver mural at the Denver International Airport, which has some very, very strange stuff going on. And it has it as well right here. And this is another mural from that artwork. This one's hard to see. They were hard to get pictures of, but you can see the winged binary star up there. And I'm not sure what's actually going on with this picture down here. Even in Scooby-Doo. Shows Leo, the constellation Nibiru. Now we get into some strange things. Alright. You have a crop circle here, which looks like a magnetic pole shift, in my opinion. Very strange. Gives the degrees. This depicts our solar system. This is a pretty famous crop circle. It has Planet X possibly entering right over here. So many sources that we have, so many different places we're getting this information. So it's collaborated all over the place. You know, some strange things outside the Vatican. What does it know? Incidentally, the Vatican has its own telescope, and it's called Lucifer. So pretty interesting. It is located in Arizona. It is a extremely, extremely expensive telescope. I'm trying to keep this video kind of short, so I'm not going to get into it too much, but research it. Why would the Vatican need to know what's in outer space coming this way? And why aren't they saying anything? So here's a picture of Lucifer. Large binary telescope near infrared utility with camera and integral field unit for extragalactic research is what it is. Now I'm going to play you a video. This guy is a astronomer, and he has done a lot of research, and his channel is Planet 7X, and he has a lot of good information on it. Not all of it I agree with, but nonetheless, very, very good work. So I'm going to go ahead and play that next. Okay. So, all right, let's move on to next. So he's got some great stuff. Very smart guy. If you subscribe to his channel, shoot him an email. He'll send you all those charts, and those charts are very pretty impressive. Um, like I said, I don't agree with everything he said, especially his timeline. I am a firm believer we are not in tribulation right now, or I'm a pre-rapture thing, but I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. That we can, let's not even go there. But very great guy, very good stuff, and he'll send you all those charts if you want to look at them. And he's got a lot of good information um, involving that planet binary star system. Um, I want to talk a couple about some different some different data on this planet that's moving in. Just some more snippets of information. Dr. Harrington, this guy was a chief astronomer for the U.S. Naval Observatory. He died before he could even talk about Planet X. He went to New Zealand for 2 years and took his infrared telescope with him, recorded his findings. Uh, was very elated on what he found. He was going to come back. There was going to be a press conference, and he ended up getting a very aggressive form of esophageal cancer. He died prior to his press conference. Um, the Naval Observatory made a statement in his obituary saying Dr. Harrington in his final years lost interest in Planet X. In his assistant Tom Flanderin, reversed his statements on about what they found, and it became a very silent dead issue. Um, very shady. Uh, what happened to this guy? And you know, I believe you can give somebody cancer. I really do. I mean, back in World War II, they were putting rice and pellets in umbrellas and poking people with them, and they were dying. I'm sure they found much more streamlined ways to do it. So, you know, just too much coincidence. But anyway, very interesting article, and sources up here, to go ahead and look at that. But kind of makes you go, what's going on? Um, why did NASA shut down the IRAS telescope? And this is from an insider. Planet X had been imaged by NASA's IRAS infrared telescope sensing satellite in 1983, and the mechanical failure story was a cover story. Once the data started pouring in that they found Planet X approaching south of the ecliptic, they released a mechanical failure story. The remaining fuel was then used to track the planet until total control over the spacecraft was lost. And they ended up spending billions of our tax dollars and constructed a new telescope at the South Pole, much more powerful than the Hubble and the IRAS put together. And they went there obviously for seclusion to view this planet. Saturn's temper. On the 4th of July, superstorms have raged on the face of Saturn, lightning that is 10,000 more times powerful than here on Earth. These storms normally occur every 30 years, but they're now happening 20 years early. And its axis has shifted almost 90 degrees. Um, so just, strange stuff going on, folks. Like I said, I am not an astronomer. I don't, I found articles that said the speed of this thing is, 40 something thousand miles an hour, and just, all kinds of stuff. Um, I'm not going to post that because I don't know. However, this stuff is factual. This stuff is resourceful. You can dig for this information very easily, um, and go from there. But I believe this thing is real. I believe it is the sign in Revelation 12, and Revelation 12 is probably one of the hardest scriptures I've ever had to look at and deduce what is going on with it. But once you unraveled it with the woman clothed with the sun, and you start digging around, it becomes it unwinds itself essentially, and you start looking at it. Real quick, I'm going to close with this, that it talked about um, having the moons, the seven crowns on its head, with the dragon, seven heads, 10 horns, and seven crowns on its head, and the tail that drew a third of the stars in heaven, and did cast them to the earth. That goes much more deeper than just a planet moving through the system. This is all symbolic, just like the rest of the Revelation 12 sign is symbolic, with the woman and the seed of the woman and everything else. This is symbolic towards Satan and how he plans to set up his kingdom on earth. The tail that takes the stars. Everyone know that a dragon's tail is very powerful. It's the most powerful weapon on a dragon, like a Komodo dragon. Their tail is extremely powerful. And took a third of the stars with them. Stars are angels. These are the fallen angels that are spoken of in Genesis 6. So this goes much more deeper than just a planet moving through to bring judgment. Now, I know it's a very terrible planet. It's going to be very devastating. But what you need to understand is that planet binary star system coincides with a satanic government that's coming. And what I will do is I'm going to have a conclusion video. So this is just about the planet Nibiru, the physical planet coming. Do your research, do your homework on it. I just wanted to get this out because I feel time is moving quickly. So there will be a conclusion video to where I will actually take the sign and break it down piece by piece what each element actually is, and where that's all found in Scripture, and what it actually means. And then we should be done with the Revelation 12 series. Alright, God bless, take care, and like I said, pray over this. You will get an answer, trust me.